Undefeated no more. Kaunas Žalgiris suffered their first defeat in Belgrade, a defeat that was sort of hopeless at the end, I would say. And the hopelessness came from probably the best defense I've seen in the EuroLeague this year from Crvena Zvezda. That's what my impression was. I've not seen such a suffocating defensive presence by a team that completely shuts down another team, demoralizes them really on the court, where they can't really even inbound the ball. They can't find a simple pass to the open man. And Žalgiris became one of many teams now that have a loss in their record. There's no undefeated teams left in the EuroLeague.
And we're just into the round 4.
Yes.
I wouldn't say it was hopeless game for Žalgiris.
No, it wasn't a hopeless game. Hopeless ending, I would say. Definitely hopeless ending. I was talking about the very end.
A lot on Žalgiris' shoulders, I would say. They were rushing the plays. They were forcing the players.
Yeah.
They were, it's also quite forced by Zvezda's defense, and this is how this team and why this team was built for this defensive presence that they displayed in the end of the game, especially. But I just saw Žalgiris, which was lost mentally, not in the game throughout the whole competition, but offensively as
lost,
well.
But your guys discrediting one thing. They weren't lost in the first half, where they were actually...
I'm talking about the fourth quarter.
Yeah, but how did they get lost? Because they were
because
being almost
Zvezda played, very physical basketball on the line of the foul, and in some
they had big
cases
bodies.
They managed to make these defensive styles, but in some cases you see Francisco losing the ball in a easy situation.
Because this is my point, because Žalgiris players lost rhythm after this crazy defensive pressure. They just lost the confidence in themselves, even dribbling the ball. You're saying, Žalgiris players had their fault too, but because at the first place, the first factor is they got pressured like crazy. And then you lose all the confidence.
I see your point, but I see Laurynas Brutas just throwing the ball while he's open, throwing the ball somewhere where there are 3 Zvezda players on the passing line. So I'm not sure if you're forced or you're affected by the defensive presence of Zvezda.
But your confidence goes.
It's just that you're playing really bad game in general that night.
No, I wouldn't say it's. I think one thing.
I don't agree.
It's
It's 100% of Zvezda's defense. It was just Žalgiris.
Well, it's never 100% of
wasn't
anything.
mentally confident to finish that game
because of defense. I think that's what made them not confident. What
else? Because, for instance, Jordan Nora's offense, 16 points in the fourth quarter, a lot of tough shots. That's what helped in this defensive game. That's what helped a lot to survive in the fourth quarter as well.
Yeah, and first time I think this year someone actually targeted Francisco's defense, and it kind of worked throughout the game. I would say 6 or 7 possessions Noara scored on Francisco. It was interesting that Žalgiris never really tried changing the defender on Jordan Noara,
who also was too small.
Yeah, but just putting a bigger guy instead of
and they tried
with
Vitkavicius, who was blown by as well. So, but that was at the end, maybe too late.
Yeah, exactly. It was just in the end where it didn't really matter. But I know that Noara is bigger than Francisco, but for a couple of times, Noara just scored, in one-on-one situations where Francisco is not the best defender. He's great in pick and roll navigation, getting through screens, but one-on-one, he's attackable, not only because he was smaller, but also because just Noara was better offensively, just rejecting the screen, just going to his right hand, too many drives to the strong right hand, to the strong hands yesterday by Crvena Zvezda. But at the same time, I wanted to say that defense was probably the best and most physical defense I've seen this EuroLeague season. The refs also allow that because in some games of the EuroLeague, this was a 40 free throw game for Žalgiris Kaunas. But the refs allowed that game, and Zvezda took advantage of that. Every time they basically denied Sylvain Francisco from the ball, whether it was Šemi Ođele or Dejan Davidovac, which was actually an interesting really thing in the fourth quarter, Žalgiris possessions were not great. They did not look efficient when Francisco did not touch the ball. they kind of forced Žalgiris into playing Williams Goss, switched against him, and Goss was like, I'm going to take care of this one-on-one. It's not really his game. He's not the most efficient in those situations, so I thought this was Zvezda's victory, but I thought also that Sasha Obradović made some interesting lineup decisions because of all those injuries. Like Dejan Davidovac played second, third position, in the fourth quarter. He was immediately guarding Sylvain Francisco, and Žalgiris thought, okay, we have Davidovac on Francisco. We just stop our offense and play one-on-one. But the ball movement is not there, the man movement is not there, and Cisco did not score on those situations. So it was interesting move that worked out.
Another lineup I liked really in the second quarter. So as you remember, the first quarter, Žalgiris was all right. They were moving the ball well, they were getting open shots and making those shots because I feel like they got the confidence at the beginning. But then as the second quarter started, we saw this lineup of Cody Miller-McIntyre, Nora, Ojale, Kalinic, and Davidovac. So basically, all guys who are lengthy, all guys that kind of have like wing size essentially, and all can switch. And Žalgiris just got stuck there. And I feel like that's where what I'm trying to say is you lose your confidence when you cannot do anything on offense because everyone's switching. You cannot create any advantages, and all those guys are really putting a lot of effort into the defense. And I was surprised how much stamina they had to put such a pressure on Žalgiris players, and then especially in the fourth quarter that turned up to another level. But I feel like that five-wing almost switch-all lineup, that was something that I thought, okay, yeah, I see the defensive potential. We were talking about preseason. This is probably the best game to showcase what they have defensively. And offensively, I thought in the first half at least, it was more about going inside. And I don't know, do you guys feel like Moses Wright and Laurinos Birutis is not a bit of a vulnerability inside? Because I felt like Zvezda was doing whatever they wanted inside, especially Donatas Motiejunas getting all the offensive positioning and then finishing inside. Even their backup big in Izundo was also scoring from there. I feel like they were punishing a lot of Žalgiris inside of the paint. And I think the stats were 2 3-pointers attempted in the first half by Zvezda.
Yeah.
And 0 made, and then 2 out of 10 to finish the game. So pretty much all the points coming from the inside in the first half, and the second half we saw a little bit more of a mid-range scoring from Nora mostly and some other guys. But yeah, I mean the inside I feel like is a bit of a issue for Žalgiris that teams can exploit.
Just defense by Moses Wright is an issue. I mean, there's a reason why Žalgiris is not finishing games with him. And I think defensively, Moses Wright was never a good player. And then especially against Zvezda, he was really that bad. The run that started in the fourth quarter, a couple of those possessions, the breaking point of the game, was basically the fault of Moses Wright, not helping. I don't remember if it was Cisco on Nora or somebody else, or Maudalo. And maybe it was Davidovac, but it was a matchup on one corner. And instead of helping the smaller guy, he was going for Motiejunas, who was instantly going beyond the arc to stretch the floor. But I mean, you're taking this risk and you're helping your guy. And it was one of those plays. In another case, he just got lost somewhere and also didn't help where he was supposed to help. So just in general, I mean, that's why Ąžuolas Tubelis is finishing games. That's why we saw some Dustin Slyvas minutes in the 5th position. But, that's the lineup you've picked building the roster. You're Žalgiris, you're out of top 10 budget team. So you will have some vulnerabilities.
Yeah, Tomas Masiulis was super mad after that situation where Davidovac scored against Goss, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Because Žalgiris post defense is supposed to be like you stay in the 2-3, kind of like zone. It's not zone, but it's just, you're defending some positions. And Moses Wright, the center, should be under the basket, and he was like 4 meters away from that. And Masiulis was This is probably the angriest
The
I've
most
seen.
Šarūnas Jasikevičius and Masiulis we've seen
Yeah.
so far this season.
I'm trying to stop with the comparisons between those two guys, so I'm just trying to say, he is the angriest. He was the angriest I've seen.
Man, but this move, and
Yeah.
you entered the floor, actually, you're like 2 meters into the floor and doing like
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
It's so Šaras, man.
Yeah,
So Šaras.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah, Donatas Motiejunas. I mean, I'm honestly surprised. The guy didn't play official games for how many? 5 months. He was out of the rotation in Monaco to start the season. You don't have any rhythm. You suddenly sign in the EuroLeague and you have these 2 big games. 13 points against Fener, against the EuroLeague champs playing away in your very first appearance. And now he was very important for Zvezda against Žalgiris as well. As you mentioned, playing through those mismatches that Zvezda created. So that's huge. To me, that's surprising. I mean, I didn't expect that a veteran of Motiejunas' age, after having no rhythm, comes to this situation. It's a hot situation in Zvezda with all these problems that they had with the coaching change, and now he's becoming a piece for that team. And I've heard that he signed for 3 months with Zvezda with an option to stay. Zvezda keeps an option, let's say it's a team option to keep him until the end of the season. But
So basically, it's the contract until Bolomboy returns.
yeah.
More or less.
And Zvezda decides.
Okay.
Rivera and Bolomboy. And
Okay.
Zvezda decides whether they want to keep him or not. But I heard that after first game, potentially, and especially after the second, there were at least few teams who inquired about Motiejunas to check on his status. It took 2 games for the others to see some value in Motiejunas as well.
Yeah,
Not just Monaco, probably.
for Zvezda,
Probably, yeah.
For Zvezda, I still feel like they're missing. Obviously, they're missing a lot of players due to
7 players
injuries,
out.
and that's what they're missing in terms of like creation. I feel like the most. There are guys that were supposed to be there: Devonte Graham, Tyson Carter, Isaiah Kanan. You could see that in some of these possessions, those guys would be so valuable to do something one-on-one or even just pick and roll or anything, but just see Cody Miller-McIntyre creating. Because otherwise, it was also, such a, let's say, not the prettiest offense to watch. And Morris... one-on-one plays, those were the same on the other side. Modolo was the only guy who was sort of saving Žalgiris from or keeping Žalgiris in the game with his 3-pointers one-on-one. So the offense wasn't nice for either team, but for Zvezda, it's I guess you could expect those guys to come back and boost a little bit of that offense.
First win against Žalgiris and after
Like
five
times,
straight losses.
And Nora is nice. Just wanted to emphasize more his start of the season. We're talking about a guy who's averaging 20.2 points in 29 minutes of action. Okay, his 3-point shooting is quite off, 26%, but he's shooting 66% from 2. Last season for FS, he was averaging only 7.6 points per game. So I kind of tried to understand what was not clicking for him out there. And basically there are 2 main reasons. FS didn't have enough ball handlers to utilize him more as a scorer on that team. And also, he has way bigger role here in Zvezda, especially with these absences. So you get this freedom, confidence to be the main guy. And also, just in general, it was not an easy EuroLeague rookie season like for many other players coming off the NBA. So it took time for him to learn, to adapt, to adjust. And you could say that it's a successful signing by Zvezda. He was supposed to stay in Efes. He had a contract with Efes for the next season as well, but they made a roster shuffle, a lot of new backcourt players, so they decided to go with the other options. I mean, Efes. And now he's here in Zvezda.
Yeah. Shot selection was his biggest problem in the NBA and in the EuroLeague rookie season. But it all changes when you go from the bench player to the main guy on offense.
All of a sudden, those shots are good now.
All of a sudden, those are the shots you need to take because there is nobody else who can do that. So it only makes sense he's scoring these
kind
numbers.
of fits that Zvezda's defensive minded approach because he had 5 steals yesterday. That's
Defensively, he's better, in disrupting passing lanes than actually defending. But
Although he was good
Yeah.
at rotating, especially in
Yeah.
the fourth quarter. I like that. I was quite
just the
surprised.
size.
crazy rotations by
Yeah.
Zvezda. Like they were just flying all over the court, not only denying from the ball, but after they get beat, all of a
Yeah.
sudden there is no advantage anymore
And Nora
because
was
of
a
great
big part of
rotations.
that.
Yep,
Like
I agree.
Davidovets, as you mentioned. And kudos to Sasha Obradovic, his first win and his return.
Yeah.
Emotional return for him, I believe. And it was just great to see players, around him celebrating the victory of the coach. So Zvezda is back.
Yeah. And regarding the provocations, good luck next time. Maybe if you want to do a Putin picture or something like, like whatever. We don't expect anything better from you guys. So from the management, I mean, whatever you guys can put up, whatever you like. We'll just laugh at it at this point.
I mean, we already
what's left.
already know what you like,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's all good.
It's all good. You've shown your colors again, so.